Hello, everybody. We are back. Stage 2 is upon us. We are here for Around the Hoot. We've got new maps. We've got a new meta. We've got a new person here. Well, not new, but Liam's back. He's been gone for a little bit. Different person than Christian. But we're here, so let's get right into it. As always, you've got your lovely, illustrious host, Wyatt. I don't know the order, but you guys know Noah and Travis. And then Liam is back. I think he was back like week 1 or 2, something like that. And now he's back week 2. So he's back for week 1 of stage 2, and we're here. So I guess where do you guys want to start? Should we start with some predictions? With we don't really have like power rankings.
We've got like a little bit of news. Like it is now like officially official that Fissure is gone from London to LA, and then Rascal has gone from London to Dallas. Like those are official now.
Yeah, so we've known this for a little bit. We've got confirmation. The Gaguri, Fearless,
Sky
and Ido, those are official. They are now signed by the Shanghai Dragons. They won't be here week 1 because
visa issues. Let's go.
So who knows when they're going to actually join the team. Yeah. So we'll see how far of a hole Shanghai can dig themselves before they come in.
We're still waiting on 3, aren't we? We're waiting on So What, which has been heavily contested by Hastro.
Heavily
contested.
The Gambler to Soul Dynasty and Animo to New York Excelsior.
The Gambler thing doesn't make sense in my mind because Toby's the Soul's primary shot caller and Toby's a better Lucio than Gambler. And Gambler's a Lucio player who's also a shot caller.
Sure. And I
so
mean,
like why would you double up on shot calling Lucios? It makes no sense.
These are all rumors. We don't really, I think they were all reported by Slasher as like sources close to the team telling him that information. But now
he got a majority of them right.
Yeah, he did.
Not 100%, but a majority.
Yeah, I mean, like who knows? The So What one, it could still happen. Who knows? But
they play tonight.
Yeah. So we'll see.
What a shocker that would be. For
That
him
would
to
be
just
hilarious.
show up randomly in the lineup, no announcement or anything.
Yeah, just there. Well, I feel like Asher probably would be like, "You guys, don't anyone fucking talk about this. Just put him out there. Don't make a big deal out of it. We won't even announce it. He'll just be on the team when we take the stage."
Or maybe maybe they're not even gonna announce the signing. Maybe it's like trying to save face. They're just gonna put him in a blonde wig. What? No, this is XQC.
For those of you keeping track at home, time from podcast start to XQC was 5 minutes. 3 to 5 minutes this week.
Yeah, so I mean, speaking of XQC, I think it'll be interesting to see.
Why are you talking about XQC?
I mean, he's eligible now. Like he is eligible to play.
Yeah.
So we'll see. He was on his knees begging on his stream last night to be let back in. So, which as much as I don't like SQC, that was actually kind of funny. I laughed.
He's so funny and he's so stupid.
Oh yeah.
He's a complete idiot. But that was
pretty
funny.
Somebody was joking. Somebody teabagged somebody in Overwatch League, and somebody was like, if XQC had done that, like he would have been like left out for stage 2, and he was like, plus jail time.
I expect XQC to play King of the Hill and nothing else.
I mean, it's not like a lot of his heroes are in favor right now. Like, he's still spamming Winston in pubs, and we saw how that went yesterday.
Alright, well, let's talk about the state of the meta right now. Liam, for those of you who may know, is washed up garbage, but he used to be good at the game as a thing. So
I am though.
Shots fired.
He got all the way up to gold. He got all the way up to gold in China, which is honestly an accomplishment.
Last summer.
Sorry, but Liam, what are you looking for in terms of changes from stage 1 to stage 2 in terms of how these team compositions are going to build themselves?
I mean, first of all, I'm really happy to not see Mercy every single game, or at least not in every single team composition. Unnecessarily all the time. I don't think we'll not see her at all, but I'm excited to see things teams do with Zenyatta and Moira or Lucio Moira.
Mercy's good with pick comps and pharmacy, and I think that's the only time you're going to see her.
Okay.
Like defensive pick, not even aggressive pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm expecting a lot of variety, and if we don't get that, I'll be a little disappointed.
There's just to kind of touch on that. There's actual diversity in the support. Like usually when I play ranked as a support, it's just like I'm just gonna play 2 heroes always, and it doesn't matter because like it doesn't matter what the support heroes are as long as one of you is the OP and the other one's a support that complements that, right? But now there are actual decisions you have to make as to which 2 supports are you gonna bring. Are you gonna go with the Mercy Zen core? Are you gonna go with Moira Lucio core? There's a bunch of different shit that teams can work with now, and I think it's gonna be interesting to see like teams develop their playstyle not necessarily around what is the strongest support hero, but like because usually that's what the meta is defined by is like which is the strongest support.
Mm-hmm.
There's actual parity in the position now, which is what I'm trying to say.
I'm excited to see what teams do in terms of their own playstyle, especially with like New York Excelsior's more get a pick comp. Like, what supports are they going to choose in order to make sure that happens more often?
Do you think they even bother switching off of Zen Moira or Zen Mercy? I think Zen Mercy is perfect for what they wanted to do. That's why one of the reasons I think they were so good stage 1 is because like those supports right now in this meta, like looking back, that is so good for what they were trying to do every game.
I feel like if they could switch the Mercy for an Ana if they have a good enough Ana player to back up whoever dies the Zen target. But,
maybe Arc is a good enough. Would you rather? Well, Jonak plays both Ana and Zen at a high level, so it's just like. Do you? So yeah, what does Arc? Yeah, what does Arc do? Arc did Mercy pretty good. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, but did he play anything other than Mercy last stage?
No, he never had to.
Exactly.
Why would you? Why would you put Jonak on Mercy when you can carry the team? In terms of like the DPS, what are we gonna see? Because are we gonna see like Genji Tracer dominate everything as per usual?
I don't think so because anti-dive is going to be a lot more common because it's a lot more viable.
And when you say anti-dive, what do you mean?
So when I say anti-dive, I mean with a core shield in Reinhardt or Orisa with a hog and then some DPS that can just do damage or at least stop movement.
Yep.
So like a McCree would be ideal. And so because of that, I hope that we don't see as much dive. That's just a personal opinion though.
I think it will depend, but I think teams will have to flex between the different playstyles on the fly. I will say though, I think this is a good meta for Soldier 70. Like a couple of DPS heroes we haven't been seeing a lot of might rise up in prevalence. Like last meta was huge for Widow, Tracer, stuff like that. I think we might see less Tracer if these triple quad tank comps come into power.
Oh, for
We're gonna
sure.
see a lot more Reaper for sure. I think Reaper is in a really incredibly good place right now, especially with Moira Lucio. He never has to let go of left mouse button. He doesn't have to use a shift ever, which is pretty huge. Constant output. This is gonna be such a good meta for Doomfist, and I'm never gonna shut the hell up about it. Okay, hear me out then.
Pick first though.
Well, like you don't need to one shot something as Doomfist. I know it's like a huge part of his kit, but he has 3 to 4 forms of crowd control in his kit. A lot of those are AoE. He's a perfect tank buster if he can get in the back line, land a big E, knock a couple people up, and then punch like the main tank of the other team into his team. Especially if he has a Zarya following him up, we're gonna see a shit ton of Zarya this meta. Yo, Video's smiling, dude. Meta Zarya time.
I mean, a bubble Doomfist charging at you is kind of hard to deal with, if not impossible. So that sounds interesting. I don't know I don't know how good he is against dive though. I feel if teams like Boston do continue to run dive, the smaller targets.
You can't target him. The Doomfist is as mobile, if not more so, than Genji Tracer. You can't really target him. It just depends on how good the Doomfist is. Like I've seen Pine recently playing Doomfist on stream, and I wouldn't trust him to be able to counter dive with Doomfist. But like,
they might be others.
Effects, hydration, maybe Carpe, because I know Carpe has a pretty decent Doomfist. Like, probably Fleta, let's assume. Why not? Libero, maybe. These guys are probably going to be on lock. But as far as main tanks go, do you think we'll see less Winston, major, big-time less Winston? / let's return to our main point. Will XQCC play?
I mean, it can work. However, it's going to definitely be much harder. And I feel like the teams, especially at the top, will immediately react to a dive with a Winston much more quickly and then with much more confidence than they had in the past. So I don't think it'll work as well, personally. But
yeah. So in terms of XQC, he does have a good Orisa, and I think Orisa still has a place in the meta, but the meta is no longer just Orisa Winston spam. Which I'm glad. I love Rhine Wars, dude. They're so fun to... Everything about this meta is like... Everybody's like rubbing their hands in anticipation. Like, let's go!
Well, like, I think the weirdest part, too, is like we've been talking about
oh.
Overwatch League.
Yeah, Overwatch League. That's what I heard. It was the middle of the sentence.
Oh, did I cut out?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, with me and Noah, we've been talking about like League of Legends versus Overwatch League and how Overwatch League is always so much more fun to play or to watch. I mean, and play. But I think even with this meta, that's going to be even truer because of the fact that there's more diversity. Teams should be playing different styles that are just exciting.
And it's real Overwatch now. Like real, honest to God. Foot on the gas pedal all the way down to the floor Overwatch. No more of this stop and start bullshit. Oh, okay, we got to pick. Never mind, then Mercy Rose it. We have to wait. Get another pick. Like, people will hit the go button and things will go.
Yep.
Incredibly excited. What do you think, Travis?
I mean, I'm excited just for the parity in support play, just because it really was, and you can even see how that super affected and super stalled games in stage 1, where it was even where, like, if your Winston had Primal Rage, your Mercy could fly into all of them, try and res him, pop off the ult, and just stall. Like,
forever, yeah.
And so it's like, okay, one res effectively lost you probably about, in that scenario, like a minute, maybe a minute and 20 seconds worth of time on the clock.
Or think of it this way, because I'm not sure, what was the Mercy Res? Mercy Res was still instant on Valkyrie cast, correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When Mercy pressed Q, she could effectively restore 600 to 1,600 health on her team, depending on if the Winston had Primal Rage or not.
Right. Well, I mean, because what oftentimes I saw was you would end up having a team, like, get both of their tanks taken out somehow. Like, let's use a terrible team as an example, like the Florida Mayhem, who had one tank that was super over-aggressive all the time.
They have tanks.
Right? Where it was like, if their Mercy had been, any good, or, Swoosh hadn't died all the time, I would essentially see teams being able to res, pop Valkyrie, res, and then boom, both of their tanks are back online. And it's like, okay, well, that was a huge obstacle we just overcame. You probably sacrificed a lot to get through those health bars, and then all of a sudden they're just right back.
Mm-hmm.
God, I'm so glad we're done with that shit. Let's keep going though. Let's keep the conversation moving. You want to talk about Florida? We mentioned them recently. How good do you think they'll be in stage 2?
That's kind of hard to say, just because, I mean, it's not like they're going to experience visa problems with European players coming over. They might experience a little, but probably not. I don't know how long any of these players have been practicing with the team. Obviously, Zappis was revealed pretty early on, I think even in the middle of stage 1 maybe. And then everybody else kind of showed up in one large burst right at the end of stage 1. It kind of seems like they're headed back to the drawing board just because they realized that they weren't able to do a whole lot with just 6 players. So it's really hard to even say, like, for all we know, Florida could come out and look like a completely different team in stage 2. Like,
right.
They have talent on that team. Like, it's no secret. But we just didn't see it utilized. We didn't see any ability to adapt to what they were faced with in stage 1. We could see, like, all but one player move from that lineup to start.
It is a pretty important player, let's be honest. Like, Saya player. I know he's your favorite hit scan in the league right now, Travis. But I think the addition of Saya player makes Florida, like... Saya player is better than Carpe. Fight me on this. This is the hill. I drew my line in the sand. Saya player is better than Carpe. And Tavik is really flexible. Not as and flexibility doesn't always mean good, right? But Tavika is like serviceable enough. I think Florida is going to surprise people this stage. Sorry.
I agree.
Hey, I'm just saying, like
hearing that explains your pick that we'll talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like
you're going to surprise a lot of people.
Your line in the sand, like I can't say that I completely disagree with you. I'm sure that's what you expected.
Yep.
I mean, like Carpe is a good player, like there's no doubt, but at the same time, Fusion were really, really up and down. Because there was a point midway through the season where it looked like, oh shit, Fusion's top 5. Like, Fusion's going to be knocking on the door of the playoffs. And then all of a sudden, Boston and Houston were like, hello, we're better than you.
Well, here's the thing. Boston and Houston managed to play full team games. When Philadelphia plays, they have Shadowburn carrying. Carpe sometimes pops off, sometimes does less. And, I guess Neptuno's pretty good. The Boombox can do some stuff. And then meanwhile, you got your tank core, which was honestly turned into a disaster. You had Fraggy kind of int a lot. And it created space for the DPS to do stuff, but other tanks managed to do that and not kill themselves over and over again.
Right.
And sometimes he just killed himself, and then there was no way Philly could fight. And then how do you feel about Poco? Let's talk about Poco a little bit. Liam, you play D.Va. Do you like Poco as a player?
I mean, I think he gets killed with his ultimates, and yeah, that's really rare, but at the same time, I don't know if that's where D.Va's... Or at least I don't feel that's where D.Va's power in a mech lies. It's, at least with the ultimate, it's a second life. And as a D.Va tank, with the amount that you can do with just your defense matrix is huge. And so I'm just worried that sometimes he doesn't use it in order to get kills, when he could be using it in order to make sure that his team could win the next team fight.
I think that will change this stage. Because, like, one of the things that you're mentioning is, like, that second life is so valuable. Because then, like, assuming that you can, remech, you could technically have 3 lives with a Mercy on a D.Va. Or that level of stall is just so important. Because you have armor to get through, and then health, you've got defense matrix, and you can deal out a fair amount of damage as D.Va, assuming, this is just assuming that you're on your own. But, like, I think that Poco's ability to get kills with his ult will become more important in this stage when you're not worried about...
I don't think he's going to get nearly as many. I don't think he's going to get nearly as many.
Do you think that's because you think Ryan and Zarya will be prevalent, or...?
Not only that, but teams aren't going to die. Like, you saw it after the second week. Nobody started... Like, Poco's effectiveness in getting kills with his bombs went down, by a considerable amount.
Yeah, everybody talked about it the first 2 weeks, and then...
We're playing Philly. We're going to fucking do D.Va drills. We're going to learn how to deal with this shit. And then, lo and behold, he stops putting out. And then they swapped in a new off-tank. Because apart from his D.Va bomb kills, Poco wasn't really getting a lot done,
Yeah.
I think Philly is going to take the place of Dallas this stage. As far as, team that should be good but is underperforming. And I think it's because they haven't addressed their issues in the support core. They haven't addressed their issues in the tank lineup, and their DPS are too volatile for consistency.
I think Philly will still... I don't think they'll be Dallas. I think they'll probably look more like Stage 1 LA Gladiators, where they definitely have
Gladiators
potential.
Still exist. Do you think Gladiators will do better?
I mean, Fisher's been working with the team for a couple of days. Actually, about a week now, I think.
Okay.
I think that's a huge improvement to what they've been working with.
Massive. Wait, but there's no synergy there, Travis. How are they going to be kidding?
I mean, I was the person who originally believed in
synergy.
The LA Gladiators synergy. In fact, so much so that I said that their synergy would be better than the Valiant in preseason.
That worked out for you.
I remember
that did not pan out.
Maybe their synergy was better, and it's just they're both worse players than Fate and Envy.
Fate and Envy are pretty good.
They're pretty nuts. Fate may or may not be the best tank in the league who's not playing for an all-Korean team.
I think that adding Fissure makes the Gladiators better. I'm not going to make any wild predictions about where they'll finish.
Fair enough, yeah.
But for looking at Philadelphia, I think they'll be a lot like Stage 1 LA Gladiators, wherein they can definitely punch above their weight class, and sometimes they do, but ultimately their inability to connect with one another is what's going to give them a kind of a crappy middle of the road or bottom middle record.
I can see that.
Yeah. I think I agree.
Yeah. And I think, speaking of looking at like gladiators, whether or not they'll be better, what do you think about the Dragons acquisitions? I know, like I said, they're not going to be there immediately, but how do you guys feel the addition of those 4 players is going to help this Dragons team?
I'm excited to see Gaguri play.
I'm excited for Stage 3.
Yeah, and that's I mean, kind of changing the subject a little. That's kind of how I am for San Francisco. It's like, because for the longest time I was sitting here thinking that it would be, Super and Sinatra being able to play in Stage 2, but they're not eligible till Stage 3. Because their birthdays are in March, and I mean, we were figuring that Shanghai will have problems getting their players to the U.S. and that even after that, they'll still need time to practice with the team. So everybody keeps talking about how Overwatch League is a marathon and not a sprint. It's like, I understand that, but you can't just sit on the starting line and then hope that you're going to be able to catch up.
You gotta start at some point, dude.
Well, yeah, especially
Will Shanghai pick up a fucking win? That's the real question.
Yeah, especially because overall playoffs, like these records are counting. Like they're already in an 10.
I feel like they're already in a hole too deep. Like 0-12. Do you really expect like anybody in? Okay, granted we don't know how playoffs are gonna work, but do you think any other playoff teams will have more than 12 losses?
Well, yeah, especially because you have to get they need to get to 6th place. So you have to overtake those you have to jump all of the mid-tier teams.
And their new people aren't here yet, right?
Yeah. I mean, at this rate, in order to make
playoffs,
Shanghai would probably have to have a perfect Stage 3. I don't
and they
know.
Won't.
Of course not. But
No.
I think in order for at this point, if we're expecting these players to arrive at the middle of Stage 2 and maybe not even be ready till further towards the end,
they have to learn Mandarin. They have to learn Mandarin. That's not something that happens overnight.
Yeah.
Because I know at least in Dota 2, the Chinese teams will only pick up players who already know Mandarin.
I doubt Gaguri knows Mandarin. She barely knows English.
Yeah, I agree. And
none of these Korean players are gonna know Mandarin offhandedly. It's not something that Koreans prioritize.
Yeah, I think I remember reading that they were saying that at least it's close enough to Mandarin where it won't be super difficult, but
it's not learning English in a month and a half.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so looking at that, how do you feel about these pickups knowing that? Do you feel that it's kind of reckless on the part of Shanghai to pick up players where you immediately know there's going to be a language barrier?
Yes, they're already in desperation mode, so what's the worst?
Yeah, I almost feel it's okay, they're 0-10, they're already kind of okay,
you're
season
already
1,
fucked.
Yeah, they're okay, season 1 probably not gonna happen, so let's lock down these players now, so that way. At least, even if they don't come till because even if they don't come till Stage 3, you got Stage 3, Stage 4, and then all of the off season in which they can, go through boot camp, train, learn the language.
Find talented Chinese players to take some of this.
Yeah, exactly. Find some more, get some more, another.
I think there's gonna be a major. There's gonna be a major shakeup. I will be very surprised if anybody from this iteration of Shanghai, apart from maybe Undead, because I think the coach has a hard-on for him or something, or there's some Chinese collusion shit happening, and then Dia, because Dia's been a beast for them.
Yeah,
but Dia's not even good enough. Dia is a good sub. I feel if Undead has to start, Dia's a good sub. In my mind, Undead would be the sub, but you need a projectile specialist. Dia loses fair battles to Divik.
Yeah,
I'm gonna stop there. That's a problem.
I think. At least from experience in Dota 2, the Chinese scene is pretty. I'm gonna go with corrupt, for lack of a better term.
Don't worry, that's every. Don't worry, it's.
I mean, yeah, that is the same happened in
Overwatch.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, it kind of feels like, so like LGD has some decent players.
You already know, dude.
And it's like, are they really gonna let those go to the Dragons at any point? No. So
Maybe.
like, I mean, they could, but I mean, I think it
Didn't
would
Dia
take a
come from
lot.
LGD?
I don't think so.
Well, like the scene there is like, okay, well, depending on how Contenders goes, we might see like a new MY come out. But like,
I mean,
I don't know. I highly doubt it.
At looking at the way that the management handled this while being in desperation mode, especially because, you know, with the strength of the Chinese Overwatch scene, we talked about in the preseason that this is a team that could finish middle of the pack, and they didn't even come close at finishing top of the bottom
With a win.
Right. And so like, are you really gonna break open the Overwatch League by being the Cleveland Browns of Overwatch League, setting a like this? At looking at it right now, if in reality we think that all of these teams have gotten better and that Shanghai's improvements aren't arriving till the end of Stage 2, they could go 0-24 by the end of Stage 2.
Oh god.
At that
Like,
point, it's too late.
At
At that point, it's done. Yeah.
At that point, GG go next. Like, then you play for pride.
Yeah.
I don't
And
even
season
know what I would do at that point. Like, you have an entire... You'd have to have an entire management overhaul if you have any respect for your organization at all.
Mm-hmm.
But it's China, so like...
Yeah, they don't.
yeah, exactly.
Like change, like,
Exactly. That shrug right there, that summarizes Chinese esports in a nutshell.
It'll be interesting to see, though. I mean, they are the only foreign-owned team.
I want them to do well.
I do too. I love China. I love Chinese esports in general. They
Yeah,
pop
exactly.
like Tai Lu and CS:GO. They're my boys, dude. They pop off.
Yeah, they play with so much heart. Yeah.
They bring the heat.
Yeah.
All the LPL. That's obviously my home region. I'm a little bit biased there. I watch some Chinese Overwatch, not a lot, because like I also could watch Korea. So like, why wouldn't I watch Korea? But you know, give it time. I'll get my hipster status. My hipster card will need another verification, and I'll start watching Chinese Overwatch again.
I mean, this situation just looks so bleak. Just because I was sitting here thinking about like how
I'm
can
getting
San
sad.
Francisco,
Talk about something
right?
else.
Well, I mean, going into something that's arguably still sad but less sad than Shanghai is like, I was thinking about how can San Francisco possibly sit on their hands until Stage 3, like.
The same way they've been doing. They just pray that Dante decides to show up.
Sure. Well, I mean, I think they'll get better with Dak being able to play Lucio.
Okay, sure. This is something I've been wanting to touch on. Dak in the scroll wheel jump era was a fucking nutty man. This guy would like hide he would be on the skybox and dive bomb your ass, and he would get in your face and he'd blow your cooldowns, and then he'd run away. And Dak. Okay, so my thing with Lucio is I love movement, right? I trained a lot of Lucio movement, like MTSing and shit. Dak has probably the best movement, some of the best movement I've ever seen in Overwatch on Lucio. Dak is clean as fuck. So yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, if now Dak, because on Mercy, Dak just fed, and let's not pretend that anything else wasn't the case, right?
Sure.
But you take Dak and you put him in a position where he not only is not dying at the beginning of every fight, but he's able to actively assist in these dives, create space for Dante, create space for Baby Bay to do shit. I am kind of liking the San Francisco team a lot.
I mean, at least San Francisco, though, this is where the happy part shows up, is it's like, with Dak being able to play Lucio, they get some minor improvement. And then they get Super and Sinatra in Stage 3. Like, at least they know things are traveling upwards. They have more than 2 wins at the end of Stage 1.
That's what I'm saying.
They'll probably advance a little bit further in Stage 2. Maybe get 4 or 5 wins.
Yeah.
I mean, with the change with Lucio, I feel like Shanghai, the shock is going to be very different because they really relied on that movement, and just getting them into your face faster is going to only benefit them.
Right.
So,
Also, Sleepy has shown he's pretty solid on Zenyatta. I'm confident he can also play Moira. if they choose to go with that style. His Zenyatta is still going to be solid if they choose to Lucio Zen dive. I don't know how his Ana is, but like, if he can play Zen, I'm pretty sure he can play Moira. Let's be real.
Okay.
Moira's nuts. She's insane. She's going to have a team. She is the support who will have ultimate at the beginning of every fight, regardless of like if the team is like feeding her ultimate or not.
Which team do you think will utilize Moira the most?
The most?
The most.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Teams that like to play whose DPS like to flex on the tanks. I'm gonna say Dallas because Chips is nutty at everything he does. Let's be real. Dallas is gonna benefit a lot from Lucio meta, even though Harry Hook isn't the best Lucio himself because like sometimes he plays ground Lucio, where he doesn't know how to wall ride. But like he has the go button, and that's all they need. They just need somebody with the go button, and him not on Zenyatta because like he has good aim, but like I've never been impressed with his aim. Soul Ryu's kind of nuts. Right?
Moira sounds like a wet dream.
We've seen Ryu's Lucio or Ryu's Zenyatta, not Zenyatta. We've seen his Moira on attacking literally first, and like they always win the first fight, and he always charges ultimate, and every time, without fail. So Soul probably knows really well how to play around that. I'm trying to think of a third because I like rule of threes.
I couldn't think of a third.
A third team that would utilize Moira well, or would have a good Moira, or would utilize Moira well.
Utilize her well.
Yeah, so as in like actually use it as opposed to having like San Francisco Stage 1 where you have a great Lucio but you can't use it.
Yeah.
Maybe Shaz. I've heard a lot of good things about Shaz, and like he was pretty good on everything he did. And with Big Goose able to protect himself for more than 20 seconds, because now he also gets to play Lucio, and he's another one of these good Lucio players.
That'd be exciting.
Yeah.
Going back to Soul, though, how do people feel like they kind of fell at the last end of the stage?
Dude, Toby's out of Mercy jail, Soul's gonna fuck some shit up.
I've been waiting for Noah to pop off about Soul and Toby.
Fleta can play anything and be the best on the server, unless they play like London, or New York, because I think like there are like 3 or 4 players who are better than Fleta overall in Overwatch League right now, right? After stage 1, Fleta can play everything. I think tanks for Soul the tanks for Soul would prefer to just be going in at all times. They're used to that Lucio speed button. They're used to that Toby shot calling and Lucio just hitting the go button and just going ham on something. This meta only benefits this is the meta that Lunatic High won 3 consecutive, or not 3 consecutive, like 2 or 3 Apex championships with. This is Lunatic High time. It's high time for Soul to dominate the league. Then there we go, bang.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
I'll right.
I'll be interested to see what happens. I definitely started to lose a lot of faith in Soul as stage 1 came to a close.
Their best players, 2 of their 4 best players maybe were Toby and Ryu, and one of them had to play Mercy. And of all the flex supports, Ryu's worst is Zenyatta. And historically, when this team did well, it's because those 2 were popping off every game. Not every game, but like they were carrying above and beyond what should be asked of a support, and their tanks were playing accordingly, right?
Sure.
I'm telling you, this team dies by their supports. It's the anime, it's the comeback, dude.
Anime King.
Hell yeah.
I'll definitely be interested to see where Soul ends up, just because we ranked them so highly in preseason, and then they kind of obviously they disappointed at the end of stage 1. But, I think that's all we've heard out of Noah since preseason was how good Toby's Lucio is.
He did 15% of his team's damage as Lucio. That's so fucking insane. There's 6 people on a team, and Lucio would do, hypothetically, the least amount of damage, and he did 15%. Like, bruh.
But I think the problems that we saw at the end were a lot more than just their supports popping off.
Yeah.
And so they'll need to fix those. Like, they were just had very interesting focus targets at the end. But I feel like they'll need to understand what to do in a team fight before they can get back to their spot.
Toby's their shot caller. I will say that.
Do you think Boston would utilize a good Moira?
I think they still play dive, and I don't give a shit.
Well, I mean,
I think they just do the same thing.
I was gonna say Dreamcasper flexes onto Roadhog.
Well, like Dreamcasper, you'd rather him flex onto something else. I feel like.
Sure, but I'm just saying,
impressive.
like they, he definitely flexes onto some beefier heroes. So I guess,
If he's Hog, do you think Striker can solo carry as a DPS? Like, can Striker create all the openings that team needs? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
My gut says no.
Striker's a good secondary DPS. He's a good secondary carry. I'll say that. So, like, you don't put the ball in his court. You put it in Dreamcasper's court, and the Striker's the kick out.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess now we should probably move on to our predictions for the week, which are available on the website. We have
What's our website?
full slate. It's eGamer News, and so you can go over there.
I got a link in chat there for you guys if you want to check it out.
Hell
There's the
yeah.
link up in chat. So we do have a big old grid pattern, and so at the end of every week we'll have a weekly winner. So Liam, and then also Steven, who aren't always on the show, will also be participating.
All of
Christian,
your
who's not here
OWL
today,
analysts will be in there.
was our winner for stage 1, I believe.
Yep.
Who won? Christian. right?
Christian.
Yeah, Christian. Is
Yeah.
blind mode for New York prevailed?
Right?
Yeah, seriously. He got so many of those where like he picked against everyone else, and we were like, "You're crazy," and then he got them. Right?
To be fair, he did that.
That means
with
he's just
London
right.
and
We're done.
won. So like
That's
it wasn't
very true,
just
yeah.
blind love for New York. So Wyatt, you're the only one who picked the Valiant this week.
I mean, I think you can see. See, there's a little bit of a. Oh god! Oh god! Here we go. No, with the Soul Dynasty jersey. So I think. I think this is a good enough time as any to throw up that Lord bet.
Yeah,
So,
damn right, dude. I'll take it. I will take you on. I think you
Yeah.
I can. This happened in the past. I feel like on Fiesta Watch or League of Legends podcast, where
Probably,
your heart got in the way of your brain, and I was like,
Oh, it happened all the time.
All
Every
the
time
time.
I went for CLG so many times.
I was just like, bruh, come on.
I learned
Come
that
on,
lesson early with Dallas.
But like I just I know that you keep saying like this is Toby's meta, they're gonna do it, but like I gotta have faith in the boys. I feel like they can do it.
LA
I feel
has
like they can do
certainly
it.
surprised us before.
Exactly. I think it'd be close. If LA wins, it's probably gonna be like a 3-2. But if Shanghai
think
wins,
it's
I
gonna
can
be
see Shanghai going in the complete
Shanghai?
opposite direction. I mean, sorry, Seoul.
I didn't Lord bend on Shanghai. I think
Seoul,
this
excuse
is
me.
you already know why I'm going for Seoul. I love Seoul. This is their time. I think okay, but to talk about things that aren't their supports, their tanks benefit. Okay, I'll run back to supports anyways. But their tanks will benefit from this meta. I think Miro is known for his Winston play, but he's kind of a garbage Orisa. So being able to switch on to Ryan, which is something he's like okay at, will help out a lot. I also think they'll be able to utilize their subs more in terms of their tank core.
Okay.
But like when Toby's the shot caller and he has the go button and he's the one who's jumping on people and starting the fights, everybody else can follow up and it's way easier for Soul. This is Soul's time. So a week, a little bit a week.
Sure.
All right, we're
Oh god. Alright, so next matchup is Dallas and Shanghai. The only person to pick Shanghai is not here.
Let's go!
Oh god, top 10 anime betrayals over here. We got good old Monte Cristo over here.
Yep.
So yeah, Dallas will hopefully come out and, get a win in the first week. Unlike stage 1. Steven picked Shanghai for some reason.
That's his wishful thinking pick. He pulled the Wyatt there.
I really hope he's trolling.
I feel like if
At least
Shanghai-
mine is closer to like reality.
Reality, yeah.
I feel like if Shanghai could ever beat Dallas, it would be in this time when they might be a little shaky in terms of the newer players or with getting XQC back if they put them in.
I reckon
But-
but if that becomes an issue, you just put the classic Envy roster in, and then it's like
Mhm.
okay, these people have been playing together for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
The real question is, what are the odds that, and this is threefold, that XQC plays, Dallas loses, and XQC makes a racist joke that gets him banned for stage 2.
Oh my god.
Can you imagine?
If Shanghai wins, I guarantee it will happen.
He will fly off the fucking handle.
Maybe not. It probably gonna be like a rant against his own team, and then incidental racism comes out.
I feel like if he does that, though, it'll be more than just stage 2. He might be losing his spot
if he makes a racist joke, he's gone.
Probably, yeah, if it's a racist joke, he's gone.
There's no way he fucks up on day 1 of his return and gets to stay.
That'd be such an XQC thing, though.
It really would.
Really
It would be such an XQC thing to do.
Oh,
but if it does happen, I hope that everyone is on the same page, so I don't have to do like 4 notes in a day. Because when his first one came out, I think I did 3 notes that day because it was like, all right, he might be banned, and then it was like, all right, OWL bans him for 2 weeks or like 4 games, and then it was like, oh well, Dallas banned him for the rest of stage 1.
Yeah,
it's just like, oh my god, guys, just everyone get on the same page, do the same thing.
You said that one.
Also, speaking of which, I forgot we didn't mention it earlier, but we do have a summary for the code of conduct / rulebook. We don't have the full thing yet, but we have a couple.
They're still writing it.
It's better. It's better than nothing. That's all I can say about it. It's better than nothing.
At this point, I feel like
summary
they
is
have
a very generous.
Yeah. The fact that we have a summary that like is 90% rules and then like the one like thing they use to ban XQC, like
they
I'm
claim
pretty
that
sure
the
they
teams
have
are
still making it up as they go along. I swear to Christ, like otherwise it would be up by now. It's ridiculous.
I saw a Twitter that was like, if you are afraid to release it publicly, then because of your rules are shit, then you should need better rules. And if you do have rules that can be released publicly, why haven't you already?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like especially because Blizzard, they've done everything else so unconventionally for the esports world. Like it seems like this will be a no-brainer for them to have like day 1. So, yeah.
So yeah, if there are any Blizzard employees watching Stage 2 Finals, if you haven't released more than a summary, I will be the person harassing you.
He will be the one getting kicked out of the media room for harassing.
Summary is a generous term to describe what we received, but it is better than nothing.
It is.
Fair.
Okay, so
yeah, back to our prediction.
Wyatt, you're the only one who picked San Francisco over the Gladiators. Is it just some crosstown hatred?
I don't know. I feel like the Shock just have a little bit of a.
It's gonna be close.
I don't know.
Will be close
I think it would be close, and I think like we talked about, like they're like the meta can do things for the Shock team that they weren't able to do last split. So it just feels like this is their time to like get an early win and get a good start. And like the Gladiators just never really inspired outside of like a couple matchups. They never inspired much confidence. So like I just don't feel like great picking them in like a 50-50 basically.
As many jokes as I make about Baby Bay, I generally feel like while Dak gets better in this meta, I don't think Baby Bay gets better. I think he either stays the same or gets worse.
I mean, you can
which would be a huge death sentence for the team at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe Baby Bay's been practicing like Hog or something.
We'll find out, won't we?
We will in just a few hours.
I mean, I think San Francisco.
50 minutes, dude.
Well.
This is probably one of the better matchups of the day, just because we have Seoul LA is great and Dallas versus Shanghai. I'm hoping is really uneventful as Dallas just steamrolls Shanghai.
Every now.
But LA and San Francisco finished, I think, like what was it, 7 and 8,
8 and 9,
maybe 8 and 9.
8 and 9.
At the end of stage 1. So this should be, you've got your middle tier close matchup, and then you've got your top tier close matchup
Right.
on the day. And then let's see, moving into Thursday.
Travis needs to tell us
damn mind.
where is or why is the sudden hard on for Houston?
Oh, me.
Yeah.
So my thing is that one of the things that I really liked about London in stage 1 is that they were really good at mixing it up and staying at the same level. Like, they could swap their players in and out, and you were still getting full force London Spitfire,
Okay.
as opposed to like Dallas, where if they subbed out, NVUS, they looked like total shit, as opposed to just kind of shit. But like London is jettisoning players, granted not starters, but like players that I felt that performed really well when they inserted them into the lineup. I think that Houston plays really well against Korean teams, and that's why I picked Houston in this matchup.
Fisher and Rascal barely got to play.
That,
they had starting time.
Right. Well, I mean, I said that they were not starters. I said that, but that kind of lends to my point that I felt that when they were subbed in, they performed well for the team, and that I think that London's strength is their ability to mix it up and still stay strong.
I think London's strength is the fact that they have arguably the best at every position. I think Profit and Burgering are the best DPS duo, and I will not be convinced otherwise. Profit, I think, is the best player in the world. Straight up. Their tank line, Gesture is a god. Who's their off tank? Can't remember the name. I feel bad. I feel like a fraud now.
For Houston?
No.
Oh,
for
London.
Spitfire, yeah. Realistically, London is very versatile as a team, right?
Mm.
So, I look at Houston and I see maybe they have issues coming into this meta because Jake's best hero is Junkrat. And it's not like he can't play other heroes, but he can't play other heroes as well as he can Junkrat. And I feel like London knows how to play around Junkrat at this point. Not only that, but I think London has playmakers in all the places, has better playmakers in all the places where Houston has playmakers. So London to me just looks like a better Houston, and we saw that kind of at the end of Stage 1 in the Stage 1 playoffs. I think you're insane for thinking Houston will get a random playoff
I think Jake is more than people give him credit for. When he's flexed onto other heroes,
he's decent. When he's flexed onto other heroes, they don't beat Koreans. I'll say that.
That's a fair assessment, but I think that he's more than Junkrat, and I think that's
fair enough. But
I think that hiding that is what's going to be Houston's strength. I really do feel like they're trying to hide what Jake can actually do.
You think Houston's just sandbagging, basically?
No, it's not that. It's that why reveal all your tricks if what you're doing is working?
I mean, I think it's I don't know. Do you think Jake's a better player than either Burning or Profit?
No.
Okay, me neither. Moving on.
Everybody picked New York to beat Florida. Everybody picked Boston to beat Philadelphia.
Yup.
Wyatt and Noah agree on something. Think that London is going to be New York.
We agree on our League of Legends.
Especially on League of Legends, it's always just like the same. We pick the same team every time.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, like with London, New York, like we saw this. It did take a reverse sweep for London to win in Stage 2 or Stage 1 finals, but they did it, and like it feels weird betting against that in this matchup.
Another point I'd like to make is this meta is much not worse for New York, but this meta isn't tailor made for you. Last meta was like you had a good Tracer and good hit scan player like who can flex onto Widow. If you had a good DPS who can flex onto shit like Genji Pharah, then you win, right? And that's exactly what and New York Excelsior excelled at. But this is a new meta, and I feel like London will have the adaptability advantage over New York. I don't think New York will be able to necessarily adapt on the fly as quickly. I don't know if taking Jonak off of Zenyatta, he'll have the same output. right? Because Zenyatta can hard carry the hell out of games, but like, I don't know the difference between a god Moira and a pretty good Moira. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know how hard that can carry, especially in the face of like meatball comps running at each other.
Sure.
So I like London's versatility here.
Right, but if like let's say you don't need a tracer anymore because of the meta is shifting, then you just put Pine on McCree and then you just click on headball there.
Okay, but like, what if he can't though? Like, what do you think in Rhine battles, Jester will lose to Mono or Janus?
Maybe not in a vacuum.
Who's their not in a vacuum, but like, who's their Rhine? Is it Janus or Mono?
I don't know.
Because I'm pretty sure Jester shits on Janus like 9 times out of 10.
I can see that. But I'm worried about, in terms of London, I'm worried about them not having the fire after the finals of stage 1. Because they had just come off of playing like 3 games that day or something crazy like that. Without that drive and without that build-up of momentum, I don't know if they can topple New York, even though they played them. Because they didn't lose the first time.
Didn't they lose the first 2 times?
They only played once, right?
They
In
played.
terms of the entire
It was
team.
a 3, and New York won 3-2.
Yeah.
It was a close
probably
series.
close.
It was
but, like,
close, yeah.
Last meta was New York's meta, and this is definitely not hardcore New York meta. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
I agree to disagree.
Let's see. Christian was the only person to pick the Gladiators over Dallas. Does
So
anyone
naturally,
want to argue on behalf of Christian?
No.
The Dallas hasn't been looking that consistent lately, and depending on which one shows up, I think the Gladiators have it.
Yeah. It's fair. I mean, like this, like Dallas. I don't. It's kind of like, you know, not that to keep drawing parallels with like League of Legends, but Dallas is kind of like SKT right now. It's like, okay, like sure, they're like should be good, but like they really haven't shown us a lot since
They're adding new pieces. They're coming into their own. The meta's in a kind of comfortable place for them right now.
Yeah.
For
So like,
for me, each stage it just wipes the slate clean. It's like every team got a bye week. And like you have the ability to focus in on what you need to improve on to do better throughout the season. And I think that, you know, I think I've harped on this quite a bit, is that much like Optic, NVUS is not an organization that's in the business of continually losing games. Like, I think that of all the teams that can tighten up what they're sloppy at and get back to winning, they are one of them.
yeah, 100%.
I'll have to see that Dallas.
Nobody picked San Francisco to beat Seoul, shockingly.
Haha.
Let's see. Noah
Yep.
has picked Florida to beat
Damn right, dude.
Philadelphia.
Damn.
When
right.
you alluded to that earlier when we were talking about Florida, with
Let's
them in a better spot.
I think Philadelphia is incredibly inconsistent. I think Florida. This is a meta that suits Florida better. I think Saya player is better than Carpe. So it comes down to like a team that kind of plays with each other, with Saya player being better than Carpe versus Shatterburn, and like who can step up on Philly. I trust. I think, and Florida showed us a lot at the end of stage 1. They went to 3-2. It was damn close, and a bad meta for Florida.
Sure.
I don't want to say Florida's going to be any great team. I think they're going to beat Philly out of the gate.
I don't think they have enough firepower to smash through Philly. And while I do think Poco is probably definitely taking a hit, especially with Lucio allowing the enemy to like run away.
He's
from
never
him.
getting any kills again. Yeah.
Is
No,
Same player even
I think the other
stateside?
players can carry him. What?
Yeah, Saya player's there.
Okay.
I just don't see the problems that we saw from Florida shaping up in a week to beat Philly.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, for me, this is really hard just because, you know, again, Philadelphia, I pretty much counted them out at the start of season or stage 1 because they didn't show up to preseason.
I told you not to sleep on him, and now I'm telling you to sleep on him.
So, I mean, I think that patterns from stage 1 could continue into the first week of stage 2, but I don't think that they'll be prevailing. So even even if Philadelphia wins this one, that's not to say that Florida is going to continue to be one win better than Shanghai for the rest of stage 2.
That's not a high bar.
Okay, yeah, so now who has the hard-on for Houston? Boston versus Houston.
Houston was the third team in the stage 1.
It was a close series, though. You can't just count Boston out like that.
I mean, I'm not, but Houston was the better. Like Houston.
How about this? Who's gonna have a better time adapting? The team with a dedicated Lucio specialist, or the team without one?
I mean, I don't think that's necessarily a hugely fair comparison, just because I don't think Muma's going to be as good off of Winston as he was on Winston.
I think Luma will be fine. Also, they have fact fiction, so it doesn't matter.
That is true.
Fact fiction's a pretty good run. He's not great, but he's pretty good.
I mean, that was my biggest complaint when I said that I think Houston will struggle moving in to this meta, was that I don't think Muma is going to do as good as everybody thinks moving off of Winston, and possibly onto Rhine.
Muma might be fine anyways. Like, to be honest, Muma's a pretty good player. Like, I haven't seen anything from him that makes me think he's not one of the better tanks in the league.
Sure. I'm just saying I don't think he'll adapt well off of Winston. I'm not saying he's a bad tank.
Oh, for sure.
It's the decisions that he makes seem solid. But
also, Cool Mac gets to play Zarya, and he's pretty nuts.
I'll be interested to see how Linkser does, just because we saw a ton of Linkser, Tracer, and Widow in stage 1, and we've already kind of hypothesized. Of course he can play. If you're in Overwatch League, you can probably play most of the things.
His coach came out on Reddit the other day, and he was like, everybody who's saying Linkser's going to suffer because the meta doesn't suit him, you have no idea what you're talking about. Linkser can legitimately play everything at top level. I'm speaking not verbatim, but
I mean, I'm not saying that he can't play everything at the top level. What I'm saying is I don't know if he will play at top level against top level. That's my thing. Is he one of the better, whatever at Hero X in the world? Yeah, definitely. Is he going to play that way against somebody who is also the best at Hero X in the world? Maybe.
Well, who matches up like that on Boston? Striker is basically a Tracer one trick from what we've seen.
That's accurate, but I think that Boston is less about a player as opposed to a strategy.
The way Houston wins games, when they're not against top Korean teams who are pissed off at them, Houston's tank line is usually able to get in enemy teams' faces and create a lot of space for their DPS. I don't disagree with you. I think it's going to be a close series, but I think at the end of the day, I don't know if Boston will be able to overcome the things that gave Houston the edge, and especially with this new map pool being harder to play dive on.
That's true.
I think I give Houston the edge.
I have faith in them to adapt, at least eventually. Maybe not this early in the series, but
sure. And I think that's something.
Pretending not to be a Boston fanboy.
Well, I mean, even though he's a Boston fanboy, I think that that's incredibly evident from what we saw in Stage 1, where we were very quick to write Boston off after Week 1, after they had a pretty good preseason. And then, of course, Stage 2, we had that whole debacle where Tyler ranked them number 5 or number 3 or something overall in his power rankings, and we all balked at that. And then, of course, that very next week, they just fell straight off the edge. And then by the end of Stage 1, they had come back into playoff contention. So I think that while the last meta suited their particular playstyle, I think that they can find a way to adapt how they play to move forward in Stage 2 and be just as competitive.
maybe.
Maybe not at first. And then to end out Week 1, surprisingly enough,
Valiant.
Nobody picked Shanghai to beat the Valiant.
Of course.
It'll get that if Valiant loses that. For the Valiant fans, at least.
Right.
Yep.
That'd be
And
rough.
and there we go.
And it's on right now.
Our first week of predictions for first week 1, stage 2. Yeah, it's getting started right now. And as always, you guys, if you want to find me at Mr. Don, everybody's Twitters. You can, I guess, go ahead and run through your Twitters really quick, and then
they're below myself and Wyatt. Those are our Twitter handles. They are above.
What about for audio listeners?
Yeah, okay, for audio listeners, yeah. So for audio listeners, I am at Rafi Dota. I talk about Dota. I talk about Overwatch League. I have opinions on most things. So
I'm at RW_Noah Waltzer. I don't shut up.
I'm at Liam Craffey. I usually talk about what's going on in my life at school and the Overwatch here.
As far as I know, if you go to our Twitch channel, there should be a place underneath. I don't think it has. I have yet to add Liam and Steven. But the guys who are usually on the show, all 4 of us, our Twitter handles are listed on the Twitch channel in the panels under EGN Crew, as well as Joe and some of the other guys who participate in the other podcasts.
Cool. And that's going to do it for us. So we'll see you guys next week, same time.
Soul's walking on stage. Oh my god!
And the Valiant are about to pick up their season. So we'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.